Okay guys, hi again. Right, so before all the madness kicked off, we were still working through our booklets, and what I'd like to still do is I'd still like to work through these booklets as much as you possibly can. There may come a time where the exam boards turn around and say, we still have to sit exams, it might be the following year. I doubt that, but we may have to conduct tests internally as a college to provide further feedback as to the justification of kind of the marks that we would give you, for example, as the head of department, and your predicted grades. We might need extra evidence to justify this, which means that we need to still finish the course. It's really important. So we are currently still on booklet 3.1 and 3.2. It's the second to last booklet. There's only a small one left. We had pretty much completed everything to do with participation in sport. Now there's a load of questions that you can answer on that. If you want me to mark them, ping them through on an email, and I can mark all of your answers, or the answer booklets you already have access to, so you can check your marks yourself through the answer booklets. Now I'm going to quickly start talking in this video about the next part of the booklet, which is all about commercialization of sport and physical activity, and what commercialization means in reference to sport. So basically, commercialization, full stop, means to make money out of something. So when we're referring to it in a sporting context or a physical activity context, we are looking at how sport can make money, and what can sports, sporting societies, different sporting groups, and etc., can basically make money out of sport. Now, sport over the years has been massively commercialized. Huge amounts of money are created through sports. You think about anything from kit, from equipment, from publicizing, from sporting figures, from just showing sports on the TV, through selling tickets, the amount of sports that there are out there. Sport makes a huge amount of money from anything. So anything that the sport, let's take football for example, anything that FIFA puts its name to, it makes money off. Anything that a footballer, like a star, puts its name on, it makes money off. So things like selling shirts with the name Ronaldo on the back makes a huge amount of profit, because people are wanting to buy that shirt for that team with that name on it. So not only does the sport make money, not only does that team make money, but also then that person makes money as well. So sport is a huge money-making industry. It's absolutely massive. It's only got bigger over the last however many years, 50 years, for example, since commercialization really started. So the media and businesses have a huge role to play. So if we look at your booklets now on page 9, so you can pause this video and stop it and play it whenever you want as I talk through it. So it'll be a really good idea to listen to me, help explain what I'm talking about, pause the video, answer the questions, and then at the end of the lesson, use the teacher booklet to check your answers through again, or submit them to me. Now these are just maybe questions to test understanding, not maybe to test your actual knowledge of it, which will be more of a test-based activity, and I'll give you questions to answer for that. So basically the first question asks, why do the media, including broadcasting giants such as Sky, so obviously Sky is one of the huge media providers in the UK and actually worldwide, if you come to think of it, give huge amounts of money to sport? Well, why do you think Sky buy rights for sport? So if Sky own rights to show sport, they're then going to get the money back from it, okay? Sports want Sky to buy into their performances and to their sports, because it then gives them a massive big broadcasting platform, if you like. So it works both ways. So for example, you must pay billions of pounds to earn the rights to own something like the Premier League, for example. Also BT are now a huge provider for football as well. So basically Sky will buy the rights to broadcast the Premier League. So they are spending a lot of money, but they're also going to get a lot of money because people then have to pay to watch the football, to pay to watch the Premier League. So then that again gives them the money back. Does that make sense? And a lot more, and a lot of profit. But then it also benefits the sport, because the sport is being publicized over a huge platform. Loads and loads and loads of people have access to that platform and will watch it, which then makes the sport better, if you like. Okay, so that would be like a broadcasting agency like Sky. But then why do you think that businesses would also then buy into it? Well, it's probably the same kind of thing. if the business puts their name to something, they're going to reap the benefits of them publicising it through that sport. So can you maybe write down any examples on that question for me, having known that? Okay, the next activity then asks for to complete a table on the next page explaining how various sports have changed due to commercialisation. Now this has both positives and negatives. Commercialisation for sport is amazing. I really strongly agree with it. However, it has actually changed certain sports, whether it be for the better or not. You can make your own decisions on that. So let's go on to the next table then. I will do one of them with you. I'm going to choose women's football, and then I'm going to let you research and do the rest. But I'll talk you through the women's football one anyway, since I'm the only girl in this class, and I feel strongly about women's sports and all that. Right, so women's football. How has media contributed to commercialisation? So now we're thinking about the media and making money from it, commercialisation. So how could women's football have done that? So traditionally, women's sport has been pretty poorly advertised and promoted, and that's why I believe that men's sport has a bigger impact. We're not going to start arguing about that now because you know I get off on a tangent. Anyway, so in the past, women's football has been not necessarily as broadcasted as it has today, but due to commercialisation, we have more women role models playing football. It's advertised a lot more on the TV, through publicising it through the media. So actually, before the Women's World Cup a couple of years ago, was it last year? I can't remember now. Anyway, there was a huge campaign to broadcast, to publicise that was going on, which then had a massive impact on the amount of viewers. It had the most amount of viewers out of any Women's World Cup for the last one. So that made a huge impact and was really, really good. Next one. So basically that's kind of what the things and ideas you're writing down in this table, just as an idea. How leagues, tournaments have been adapted to increase commercialisation. Okay. So for an example, for women's football, now you're going to have to research the rest of them for yourselves, like I said. But women's football, the Super League was created, I don't know if you knew this, in order to provide that platform with the media backing it. And that was all introduced for England football, for women's football. That then resulted in a huge amount of viewers and the sport becoming way more popular, which then leads to more women role models for pupils. There was a huge input of money from FIFA going into grassroots sports, so like those youth clubs, those children's grassroots women's clubs, and pumping loads more money into it, obviously trying to encourage it. So that really helped the sport adapt as well. The next one, how does technology, now we've already looked at technology in sports, so you can link some of those ideas back from previous topics, but how can technology, or how has technology contributed to commercialisation? Well, things like VAR is introduced. The sport is just a huge business, so win or losses can change somebody's career massively, okay? So it's really important that those decisions made in sport by referees are correct. So obviously VAR isn't in all countries, it's not across like a whole platform, etc, but the introduction of such technology, and we can think about this in male sports as well, how has that changed male sports to make more money? Well, might make it more exciting for the viewers, so more viewers are going to want to watch it, etc. So that's just one way that technology has increased commercialisation. So have a look at the other sports now, pause this, go back, try and do the same for cricket, tennis and athletics. Okie dokie. All right, we're moving on a little bit. It's still talking about commercialisation, guys, but we're going to talk about another concept, and this is called the golden triangle. Now, basically, the golden triangle, kind of like, what is it? Is it in physics where, like, the heat triangle, like one can't happen without the other? Anyway, so basically, the golden triangle only works when all three concepts of those points of the triangle work in unison together. So you need the sport, you need the media, and you need the sponsorship for everything to kind of work intangibly together. So, and that is then known as the golden triangle. So have a look at these examples below. So now you know what the golden triangle is. It's a very simple concept. Without sport, you can't have media for sport, you can't have the sponsorship going into sport, so therefore commercialisation is not going to happen, and vice versa if you removed any of the other elements. Without sponsorship, you're going to have less media, you're going to have less money pumping into the sport, etc., etc. Without media, you can't have the publicity of the sport, so then you don't have the sport and you don't have the money going into the sport, so no sponsorships are going to then sponsor that sport. So it kind of all just works in together. So have a look at these next little examples. Basically, it's talking. I don't want to go into too much about it because it's about Man United and I don't like Man United, but you get the idea. So try and answer those questions as to why certain sponsors would buy into that club, etc. How is that money being used by the club, for example? So again, it's a bit more of a research-based task, so I don't really have to give you the answer to this. You can go away and you can look at this for yourself, which I think is really interesting. Okie dokie. So try and do that, and then we're going to move on to the next element, which is all about advantages and disadvantages of commercialization. Okay, I'm going to put this on a new video because I'm reaching my max time and I won't be able to post it. All right, stay tuned.